Singapore must always give our people full opportunities to achieve their potential. Our pioneers showed that we can do anything, provided we set our minds to it. And we must build on their legacy and continue to give every Singaporean the confidence to shoot for the stars. Education is an important part of this. And that's why every year I speak on different aspects of education. And this year I will focus on ITE and poly students. Our ITE and polys are world-class. Foreign visitors are amazed by the facilities, better than many universities. Investors are impressed by the quality of the graduates, well-trained, can-do, productive. And our students themselves are great examples of resolve, strength, and character. People, for example, like Divesh Singaraju, who was diagnosed with lymphoma when he was 10. He recovered, led a normal life. He fell in love with aeroplanes after visiting the cockpit of a Silk Air aircraft. He qualified for JC, but decided to enroll in Singapore Polytechnic to pursue his passion for aeronautical engineering. Unfortunately, his cancer relapsed, which delayed his studies by a year. But he recovered, went back to school. This year, graduated top of his class. And while he was there, he co-founded YouthCom to help youths with cancer. He's going on to Imperial College to study aeronautical engineering on an SIA Cinder scholarship, and I wish him every success. Or take William Tay. William lost his hearing to illness at 4. He enrolled in ITE College Central here. He joined the photography club and the Deaf Dragons, which is a dragon boat racing team. And he graduated last year with a NITEC in Infocoms Tech with a perfect GPA and won the Rotary ITE Student Excellence Award. Welcome, William. Now he's in the Poly, studying for a diploma in Infocom Security Management, benefiting from the Special Needs Education Fund, and working with his lecturers to come back to his alma mater to start a sign language CCA club here in IT College Central. So we've done well by our students. But our students, having done well, naturally hope to climb even higher. And I give you an example of how they feel in this striking artwork entitled Aspirations, which has been put up by IT students in their art show, and if you go outside later, you'll see it on the wall somewhere outside. And it shows their desire to improve themselves, to reach the top. And if you look carefully, you will see also it shows a right spirit, because having reached the top, you reach down and help the next person to make it too. And I would say that this is a very good picture too, because it shows that there are many paths up to the top, which is, in fact, my theme tonight. They are right to aim high. We want to help them to create a brighter future for themselves by many routes, not just the academic route, but also alternatively by getting good jobs, mastering deep skills, performing well, and then getting relevant qualifications along the way as they work, as they advance in their careers. Keppel Corp illustrates what we are trying to achieve. I visited Keppel's offshore and marine shipyard at Tuas recently and talked to their people, both the management as well as the staff. I was deeply impressed, both by what they have achieved, but also by their can-do spirit and confidence. In fact, their dry dock is called the Fells Can-Do Dry Dock. So I went back again with a video crew to interview them, myself. So let me share with you the story of two of the Keppelites, Dorothy Han and Abu Bakar. Dorothy graduated from ITE and joined Keppel Fells as a draftsman about 25 years ago. She left Keppel, worked elsewhere. She came back to Keppel. She rose to lead the pipe design section of the engineering department. And with an ITE certificate, she is supervising 62 people in her department. So I asked Dorothy how she came to join Keppel. And here's her interview.
Around 20 of us was being selected and we joined Keppel. And that was started off with a trainee draftsman. We just know how to draw, that's all. And from there, we get to know all sort of experience. And we even climbed a ship, and that was my very first time where...
Must be quite tough. You must put on a hard hat.
Yes, yes, for a lady, and everybody was saying, hey, you are a lady, why you chosen so sweaty kind of jobs to come into a shipyard where there's very dirty and all that. But well, as what the Chinese saying, and also my dad was also telling me, "行行出状元."
You went for training courses. What did the
Currently, right now, I'm with
do?
Sponsorship for a part-time diploma.
Diploma?
Yes. So
with which poly?
With Ngee Poly. Because it's in a module structure, so it's actually in 5 modules. So it takes 2.5 years.
Tell us the modules.
For example, certificates in mechanics. So next year, I will be getting my that is in my trade, which is certificates in piping system. Yeah.
That should be no problem.
I hope so. Yeah.
We are trying to encourage more girls to take up engineering and to consider careers like marine, because people somehow think it's a man's job. So what can I tell them, or what can you tell them to persuade them that they are mistaken, it's not just a man's job?
Over here, we are equal. If you can see that, if you can prove your capability, you can prove you can take down so-called the responsibility, in fact, we are equal with all the men. Yeah.
So you're quite confident?
Everybody have the same opportunity.
For the benefit of those of you who didn't catch the Chinese words, Dorothy said, 行行出状元, which means in every profession, there's a top master. Abu Bakr graduated from Singapore Poly, and then he joined Keppel Shipyard as an assistant safety officer. Now he's working in Nakhilat, Keppel Offshore and Marine, which is a joint venture shipyard Keppel did with a Qatar company in Qatar, specializing in solutions for gas carriers and offshore structures. I asked Bakr how long he'd been in Qatar. How long have you been there in Qatar?
I've been there close to 4 years.
What are you doing there? You're running the shipyard there.
Chief Executive Officer.
So you're running the operation, you're in full control, or you have to discuss with a Qatari co-CEO?
There's no co-CEO.
Did you expect to be running a shipyard in Qatar when you joined Keppel?
No, never.
So you went on training courses along the way?
Yes, Keppel gave me a lot of training. There's a lot of management courses, training that they give. Only in fact, recently I just went through the executive MBA.
With SMU?
Yeah.
So you did the EMBA, you've completed it already?
Yes, I completed it last year. And it's quite a good program, good exposure, because I want to have a MBA that give Asian perspective. Because the program itself brought you to Wharton, to China, Beijing, to Hyderabad, and also, of course, Singapore.
You went into the program. Some of the other people on it must have already been graduates.
Yes, in fact, most of them.
So did you feel you were able to cope equal with them, or
no, at that
any difficulty because you've had so many years of experience?
Yeah, I think quite easy, because I think quite relevant to our job. In EMBA, and in fact, to me it was very timely, because you have a new company to run. Because it's totally a new startup yard. You run there, you run a new business.
You were applying in your work what you were learning on the EMBA.
Yes, that's why I say quite timely, because I use the course as a platform for me to discuss my problem.
You get free consultancy.
Yeah, they have 30 over people to consult. so it's very timely. Seriously, very timely, because that's where you ask the lecturer with real life difficulty that you have, and I really appreciate that.
I would like I'd like to make 2 points on Bakar. First, he didn't have a degree, he had a poly diploma. The EMBA needed a degree to start. So Keppel, Mr. Chu Xiaobing, wrote a letter to SMU vouching for Bakar's experience and capabilities, and Keppel accepted that and took him in, and he did well on the course. So the employer support is very important. Secondly, Bakar is a good NS man. I first met him when he was commissioned in the old Safti Parade Square 25 years ago on his commissioning parade. And I was very happy to discover on the day I interviewed him, that was the day he was being promoted full colonel NS, commanding an infantry brigade. So Keppelites like Dorothy and Abu Bakar can advance because Keppel O&M values every worker. And the tone is set from the top over many years by leaders like Mr. Chu Xiaobing and sustained by the current Keppel leadership. So well done, Keppel. Keppel illustrates that you can progress by acquiring deep skills and knowledge throughout your career. And there are different ways to deepen your skills and knowledge by learning on the job or by going for higher qualifications as you work and progressively, or both. And you should look for the best ways to learn. Learn what's relevant, apply that. Don't go on a paper chase for qualifications or degrees, especially if they are not relevant. Because pathways and opportunities to upgrade and to get better qualifications will remain open throughout your career. It's never the last chance. You always have the possibility to advance, to improve yourself, to take another step. As long as you're working, as long as your mind remains fresh and active, and you dare to go. At the same time, employers must value your staff and develop them to take on higher responsibilities. And with the right support at work, you can advance in your careers, whether or not you are a graduate. And this is the culture shift which we need, and that's why I set up the Aspire Committee, chaired by Indrani Raja, to study how to create and widen and strengthen this work and study path. So Indrani's committee will announce its recommendations shortly, but just very broadly. We need to help students make better education and career decisions so they know the full range of choices before they decide. We should help poly and IT graduates get into jobs for which they were trained and have the right skills, because very often they do courses, they come up well qualified in engineering or in building management or in design or in childcare, and then they go and do something completely different which is not related. And we have to help individuals to progress and upgrade after they have graduated and started work in their careers, to develop the structured career paths for them, and then to implement this work and study path on a national scale. It's not easy. It involves multiple stakeholders, many government agencies, education, manpower, trade and industry. It involves employers, companies who have to develop and value every worker and create the corporate values, the cultures, the training systems within the companies. Not easy for big companies, even harder for SMEs. We need the unions in this because you have to be fully behind the effort, championing lifelong learning, like what you're doing in the Devanaya Institute. So within the government, the natural agency to take the lead in doing this is an expanded WDA, Workforce Development Agency. But WDA will need strong support from other agencies, employers, and unions. So to bring all the pieces together, I've asked DPM Taman to lead a tripartite committee, which will involve the government, employers, and unions to drive this. It will develop an integrated system of education, training, and progression for all Singaporeans, and promote industry support and social recognition for individuals to advance based on their skills. The government, as a public service, as an employer, we will do our part. The civil service does offer fulfilling careers to non-graduates. For example, in the People's Association, there's a single scheme of service whether you're a graduate, whether you're a diploma holder, you join the same scheme of service, you join at different points, but after that, you're advanced based on merit. And there have been many non-graduates who have progressed to senior manager positions based on their ability to do the job well. Another area where we have many opportunities for developing these careers are in nursing. Many of our senior nurses started off without a degree, worked their way up. Some of them have earned degrees along the way, but as a nurse, we assess you on your knowledge, on your ability, on your commitment, and not so much on where you started. We've recently enhanced the pay and careers for the nursing profession, and I hope that this will help the nurses to upgrade and progress. The SAF tool recognizes leadership abilities, not just academic qualifications. And there are many paths upward for non-graduates and military experts. And as Colonel Baka's example shows, you don't need a degree to be a good commander. So the public service can and will do more. We'll put more weight on job performance and relevant skills, rather than starting qualifications. We'll merge more graduate and non-graduate schemes to give everyone the same opportunities on the same career track. And we'll promote non-graduates more quickly to what used to be considered graduate-level jobs once they prove that they can do it. But to succeed nationally, we need two strategic factors which will help everyone to achieve their potential. One, you must have economic growth to create opportunities for our workers to rise. Keppel can offer opportunities and create career pathways because it is a successful company. Likewise for Singapore, our economy must be competitive too. Companies have to be able to prosper, investments must still want to come to Singapore. We must have growth in order to look after our people well. So we have to be hard-headed in order to be good-hearted. Secondly, and just as importantly, we need a cultural change. Because fundamentally, this is about our values, about how we value people. And Singapore must always be a place where everyone can feel proud of what they do, where you are respected for your contributions and your character, and anyone can improve his life if he works hard, and everyone can hope for a better future. There's one more Keppelite who personifies this story, and he is Roy Lim. He left school after Sec 2. He started out working as an apprentice in Far East Levingston Shipyard, which later on became Keppel Fells, and he started working 37 years ago. With support from Keppel, he completed NTC 3 and then NTC 2, and today he is one of 2 shipyard managers of Keppel Fells, and the 2 of them together manage Keppel's 2 biggest shipyards in Tuas and have 12,000 people under their charge. And Roy said, "I can never imagine someone like me with no education can rise to be a shipyard manager." Here's my interview with him. You've been with the company all over, right? Many departments and also overseas.
Oh, yes, yes.
You were in China?
I was in China, I was in Vietnam, I was in India, I was in Holland, I was in Finland. Finland is the one that is terrible.
Why?
Because I'm alone.
Oh.
All right, and I got to deal with the Russian and the Finnish.
Oh,
right. I was there to as a warranty engineer for the multi-purpose vessel, so I need to engage interpreters to communicate with them. Okay. And I realized that there's one day when I was alone, okay, in the evening, actually I wanted to go for my dinner. All right, so I popped into a restaurant. And the guy chased me out. You know what he said? "You are Vietnamese, you're not allowed to come in." I look at the guy, I stand for a while, then I give a thought. I take out, I'm a Singaporean, I take out my passport, and they allow me to go in.
Oh, it's a powerful passport.
Powerful passport.
You didn't think of giving up?
Never give up. Later I tell you that, but I want to give up. I have this problem, okay, I'm trying to solve, I can't solve, okay, and actually I call my wife. I say, I want to give up. I say, it's very tough, okay. It's all on my own. There's no support from Singapore. All right. While if you are in Singapore, you're very comfortable because you have any problem, you just beep, 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 everybody will come to attend.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So I called my wife. I said, hey, I want to give up. All right. Then my wife told me, don't give up. Finish the job. Even though you want to quit, finish the job and come back with your head high so that at least you fulfill your obligation. But my wife told me one thing. Don't worry about family. Let me take care of the kids. You concentrate on your work. That will actually ease me a lot of things. So I continue to finish the job.
So, thank you, Roy, for being a role model, and thank you, Mrs. Lim, for standing by your husband through difficult times. There are many other Roy Lims and Mrs. Lims in Singapore. They may not have degrees, but they are working hard and trying to improve themselves. So long as you work hard, you can always hope for a brighter future here in Singapore.